I filmed my niece's wedding. And caught my wife cheating with my uncle. Hey Reddit, I don't even know where to start. My life imploded because of something I caught on camera, something I wish I could unsee. I'm Aaron. Married to Madison for 7 years. We've had the usual ups and downs, bills, stress, arguments about my long hours at work, but I honestly thought we were solid. She's the kind of woman who walks into a room and makes everyone look twice. My mom used to joke, "Aaron, you married way out of your league." And honestly, I kind of believed her. Last month was my niece's wedding. Big family event, everyone dressed up, free-flowing alcohol. Madison looked stunning in this dark green dress that hugged her in all the right places. We danced, we laughed, we got wasted like everyone else. I've always been the guy with the camera at family events. I filmed everything that night, my niece and her husband doing their first dance, my dad making a fool of himself on the dance floor, my brothers taking tequila shots. Madison even pulled me aside at one point, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "You're too sweet, babe. Always wanting to capture memories." It felt like one of those nights we'd look back on with fondness. I had no idea that same footage was about to rip my entire marriage apart. The next morning, I woke up with the kind of hangover that makes you swear off drinking forever. Madison was still passed out in bed, makeup smudged, snoring lightly. I grabbed some coffee and decided to go through the footage on my camera. Honestly, I just wanted to laugh at my dad's drunk dance moves and maybe clip something together as a gift for my niece. At first, it was exactly what I expected, people laughing, the band playing, my brothers singing horribly off-key. Then, around the 1 a.m. mark, the camera had been left recording while I set it on a table. That's when my stomach dropped. In the corner of the frame, blurred at first, I saw Madison. She wasn't with me. She wasn't with her girlfriends, she was with my Uncle Rob. At first it looked like they were just talking close. But then, clear as day, Rob leaned in and kissed her. Not a peck. Not an accident. A full, slow kiss. And she kissed him back. My breath caught in my throat. I rewound it, thinking maybe my eyes were playing tricks. But no, it was worse on the second watch. Because after the kiss, Rob's hand slid down, lifting her skirt just enough. And she laughed. A giggle I knew too well, the same one she used to make when we were first dating, and I whispered something dirty in her ear. I dropped the mug of coffee in my hand. It shattered on the floor, but I barely noticed. My whole body went cold. I just caught my wife and my uncle in 4K. And the worst part? She looked happy doing it. I sat there for hours staring at that footage, my head spinning. My uncle. My wife. Of all the people in the world, why him? When Madison finally stumbled out of bed around noon, hair a mess, she groaned. "Ugh, how much did we drink last night?" She smiled at me like nothing had happened. I couldn't even fake it. I grabbed the camera off the table, queued up the clip, and handed it to her. "Explain this." She blinked at the screen, watched for maybe 5 seconds, then scoffed. "Oh my God, Aaron, are you serious?" "We were drunk. It was a stupid little joke. Nothing happened." I just stared at her. "A joke?" "He lifted your skirt." She rolled her eyes. "You're being dramatic. Rob is family. It's not like that." "Not like that?" I snapped. "You kissed him back. You laughed. You think I don't know the difference between a joke and you getting off on attention?" That's when she got mean. Her face twisted and she said, "You're pathetic. Always so insecure. You think every man who looks at me is trying to steal me away. Maybe if you were half the man Rob is, you wouldn't have to worry." Those words hit harder than the video. Half the man. She knew exactly where to stick the knife. I couldn't even speak. She grabbed the camera out of my hands, deleted the clip, and tossed it back at me. "There. Happy? Stop embarrassing yourself." But she forgot one thing. I had already backed up the footage to my laptop. And in that moment, while my wife smirked at me like I was some gullible fool, I knew this wasn't going away. This was war. After that confrontation, I walked out of the house. I didn't even know where I was going, just drove until the gas light came on. I ended up parked by the lake, staring at the water, and that video replayed in my head over and over. Her giggle. His hand. The way she let it happen. I felt sick. Not just because of the cheating, but because it was my uncle. My family. A guy I grew up looking up to. A guy who taught me how to throw a baseball when I was 6. The shame burned worse than the anger. How do you even tell people about this? Hey, my wife made out with Uncle Rob at a wedding. It sounded like some trashy reality TV plot, not my life. I didn't sleep for days. My appetite was gone. I'd sit at my desk at work, staring at spreadsheets, but all I could think about was Madison whispering to me years ago, "I'll always be yours." And now she was whispering God knows what to Rob. When I did talk to her, it was like arguing with a wall. She doubled down, telling me I was obsessed, that I was ruining our marriage by holding on to one drunken mistake. She even threw in, "If you keep this up, everyone's going to think you're crazy." That one gutted me. Because deep down, I was starting to wonder if she was right. Was I losing it? Was I really blowing up my life over something that happened when everyone was plastered? But then I'd remember the way her skirt lifted, the way her body leaned into his. No. That wasn't nothing. That was betrayal. And every time she smirked at me like I was weak for caring, the ember of rage inside me got hotter. I wasn't just betrayed. I was insulted. And soon, she was going to see exactly how pathetic I really was. After weeks of spiraling, I hit a wall. One night, I caught myself sitting in the dark, replaying the video for the 100th time. I looked like a ghost, sunken eyes, unshaven, hunched over like the life had been sucked out of me. That's when it clicked. Madison wasn't just cheating. She was making me feel crazy for catching her. She was rewriting the story so I was the villain, and she was the poor misunderstood wife. I wasn't going to let her win that narrative. So I made a choice, no more begging, no more doubting myself. I was going to dig, find the truth, and use it to burn her little game down to the ground. I started with her phone. Madison was careless. She'd leave her iPad lying around, sync to her messages. One night while she was in the shower, I went through it. And there it was. Flirty texts with Uncle Rob going back months. "Last night was amazing. Wish we could sneak off again. You're the only one who makes me feel this alive." And one that made my stomach turn. "Careful, Aaron's getting suspicious." It wasn't just a drunken slip. It was an affair. Ongoing. Planned. Hidden. I copied everything. Screenshots, backups, timestamps. Combined it with the video I'd already saved. And then I thought about her smug little line. "If you were half the man he is." Fine. Maybe I wasn't half the man Rob was. But I was about to be twice the man she deserved. Once I had the texts, I didn't confront Madison right away. I wanted to see how far she'd go with the lies. And wow, she didn't disappoint. She started working overtime on her Aaron's paranoid campaign. She told my mom I was losing it after the wedding, that I was jealous of Rob because he's more successful. She even told my sister Kelly that I'd been editing the video to make her look bad. Editing. Like I had the skill, or the motive, to fake my own wife laughing while her uncle shoved his tongue down her throat. The more she lied, the nastier she got at home. Every time I asked where she was going, she'd snap. "What, do I need your permission to go to Target now?" Or she'd throw in digs like, "No wonder I need attention elsewhere, you suffocate me." Meanwhile, Uncle Rob was doing damage control too. He cornered me at a family barbecue, all fake smiles, saying, "Hey, about the wedding, things got out of hand. Let's just move past it, huh? Don't blow this out of proportion." I wanted to break his jaw. But instead I just nodded and walked away, because I knew something they didn't. I had the receipts. The lies piled up so high, Madison started tripping over them. She told my mom she was working late, but I had screenshots of her meeting Rob at a motel. She told my sister she barely talks to him, but the text showed them sexting at 2 a.m. She thought she was clever. She thought she could bury me under gaslighting and half-truths. But all she was doing was digging herself deeper into a hole I was going to bury her in. The more I uncovered, the heavier it got. Every new text I read felt like another kick to the ribs. It wasn't just the sex or the sneaking around, it was the intimacy. The little things that used to be ours. Rob texted her the same pet names she once gave me. She sent him the same winky selfies I thought were special. And the way she wrote, "Careful, Aaron's not dumb," made me feel like the joke of the century. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. My brother Jake came over one night, found me sitting in the living room with a bottle of whiskey and my laptop open to the screenshots. He tried to talk me down, but all I could say was, "My own wife. My own uncle." The shame was unbearable. It wasn't just betrayal, it was humiliation baked into my bloodline. I couldn't look my dad in the eye without wondering if he knew. I avoided family dinners because every time I saw Rob, I wanted to strangle him. And Madison? She twisted the knife daily. One night during an argument she sneered, "Maybe if you were man enough, I wouldn't have to go elsewhere." That line broke something in me. For a moment, I actually believed her. Maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe I was boring, safe, a guy she settled for until something better came along. I hated myself for not seeing it sooner, for letting her make me feel like trash while she played me. That night I hit the lowest point. Staring at the bottle, wondering if life was even worth it anymore. But then, somewhere between rage and despair, something shifted. I realized if I gave up, they'd win. Madison would get to paint me as the crazy, broken husband while she skipped off with my uncle. And I wasn't going to hand her that victory. If she thought I was weak, if Rob thought I'd stay silent, they had no idea who they were dealing with. The morning after that rock-bottom night, I woke up on the couch with my laptop still open and the bottle half empty. My head was pounding, but my mind was sharper than it had been in weeks. I'd been sitting in my misery, letting Madison and Rob define me as the broken, pathetic husband. Enough. I showered, shaved, put on clean clothes, and when I looked in the mirror, I told myself out loud, "You are not the weak one here. They are." From that moment, I stopped reacting and started planning. I cataloged everything. Every screenshot, every text, every timestamp. I organized it into folders like a case file. Watching the pattern unfold made me sick, but it also made me strong. It wasn't just suspicion anymore. It was fact. And then I thought about my niece, the bride whose wedding was supposed to be a beautiful memory. Instead, it had become the night I caught my wife and my uncle. That was the spark that lit this fire. And it gave me an idea. The family always got together at Thanksgiving. Everyone. Cousins, siblings, uncles, parents. The perfect stage. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to fight. I was going to show everyone who Madison and Rob really were, with their own words and actions. They wanted to make me the fool? I'd turn them into the punchline. For the first time since this nightmare started, I felt calm. Focused. They thought I was weak because I hadn't exploded yet. What they didn't know was that I wasn't broken. I was sharpening my blade. Once I decided I wasn't going to play victim anymore, everything snapped into place. I spent weeks quietly building my arsenal. I made duplicate folders of the texts and photos. I pulled the original wedding footage off my hard drive, cut a short clip of the kiss and the skirt lift, just enough that no one could argue. Context. I even printed hard copies of the worst texts and tucked them into envelopes, just in case someone tried to claim the footage was edited. Meanwhile, Madison kept lying. She'd stay out late, tell me she was at girls' night. I'd bite my tongue, knowing she was with Rob. She thought I was beaten down, too broken to push back. Even Rob still tried to play cool around me, slapping me on the back at family get-togethers. I let him, smiling like an idiot, because I knew Thanksgiving was coming. And Thanksgiving was perfect. Everyone was going to be there. My parents, my brothers, my sisters, cousins, even Rob's wife and kids. Madison loved showing off at those dinners, bragging about how perfect our marriage was. This time, she was going to brag herself straight into hell. I borrowed a projector from work. Told my mom I'd put together a slideshow of old family pictures for everyone to enjoy after dinner. Madison was thrilled, even posted on Facebook. Can't wait to watch Erin's sweet video at Thanksgiving. She had no idea she just RSVP'd to her own funeral. Thanksgiving night. The turkey was carved, the wine was flowing, and the house smelled like cinnamon and gravy. Madison was glowing, working the room like the perfect wife. She clinked glasses with my mom, kissed my cheek for show, even laughed too loudly at my dad's jokes. Rob was there too. Sitting across from me, his wife beside him, his kids at the table. He grinned like nothing in the world was wrong. Every time our eyes met, I felt my fists clench under the table. After dessert, I stood up and clapped my hands. All right, everyone, I've got something special to share. Madison beamed like I just handed her flowers. Rob raised his glass. The lights dimmed. The projector flickered on. At first, it was family photos, childhood shots, old Christmas mornings, funny clips of my brothers. Everyone laughed, relaxed, warmed by nostalgia. Madison squeezed my hand under the table. And then, the clip. Up on the wall, 20 feet wide, there they were. Madison and Rob in the corner of the wedding reception. The kiss. The hands sliding up her skirt. Her giggle echoing through the speakers. Gasps around the room. Chairs scraping. Rob's wife went white as a ghost. My sister Kelly covered her mouth. Madison shrieked. Erin, turn that OFF! She lunged for the projector, but I stepped in front of it. Not done yet, I said calmly. Next came the screenshots. Texts blown up on the screen. Last night was amazing. Careful, Erin's getting suspicious. You make me feel alive in ways he never did. Rob's wife started sobbing. My mom looked like she was going to throw up. My dad stood up and said, Rob, get out. Now. Madison spun, screaming at me. You're humiliating me. You're ruining this family. I just looked at her and said, No, Madison. You and Rob ruined this family. I'm just showing everyone the truth. And for the first time since the wedding, I felt taller than both of them. Thanksgiving blew up like a bomb, but the shockwaves didn't stop there. By the next morning, half the family group chat was on fire. Cousins were messaging me. Dude, is that video real? My sister Kelly called, her voice shaking. Erin. I don't even know what to say. We all saw it. I'm so sorry. And Rob? He disappeared. He didn't go home that night. His wife kicked him out on the spot. His kids wouldn't answer his calls. By the weekend, everyone in the extended family knew the fun uncle wasn't fun anymore. He was dirt. Madison tried to do damage control. She called my mom sobbing, saying I'd edited the video and twisted the texts. My mom shut her down cold. Don't you dare insult our intelligence. We all saw it. She even tried to spin it on Facebook. Some melodramatic post about toxic marriages and how sometimes people grow apart. But by then, screenshots of the texts were already circulating. Friends who used to gush over her perfect marriage pictures either went silent or unfriended her. Even her coworkers found out. Someone at the Thanksgiving table leaked the story, probably one of my cousins, and soon the whispers spread at her office. One of her friends DM'd me. She's been a wreck at work. People don't trust her anymore. The humiliation she thought she could dump on me was finally hers to carry. And the best part? I didn't even have to keep defending myself. The evidence spoke louder than I ever could. For once, I wasn't the crazy, jealous husband. I was the guy who proved the truth. And watching Madison and Rob squirm under the weight of their own lies was the sweetest justice I'd ever tasted. The weeks after Thanksgiving were like watching a slow-motion car crash, except I wasn't the one in the wreck anymore. Madison was. Her family turned on her instantly. My mother-in-law, who used to worship her, called me privately and said, "Aaron, I don't recognize the daughter I raised. I'm ashamed of her." Madison's own sister posted a cryptic Facebook status about betrayal that cuts deepest when it's in your own blood. Everybody knew what it was about. Rob's wife filed for divorce within 2 weeks. His kids wouldn't see him. He tried calling my dad to smooth things over, and Dad shut him down with one line: "You're not welcome in this family anymore." As for Madison, she tried clinging to Rob once the dust settled. Pathetic, really, like the two traitors could somehow build a love story out of ashes. But that didn't last. Rob's life was in shambles. He had no money, no family, and no dignity. Within a month, they were screaming at each other in parking lots, and then he ghosted her. Madison ended up couch surfing with one of her last remaining friends. She called me one night, drunk, sobbing into the phone. "You don't understand, Aaron, I didn't mean for it to go this far. You still love me, right?" I just sat there in silence until she started screaming. "Say something." Finally I said, "I loved the woman I thought you were. She's dead. I don't know who you are anymore." And I hung up. That was the last time I heard her voice. She'd spent years making me doubt myself, making me feel like I wasn't enough. But now she had nothing, no family, no friends, no home, no uncle lover to hide behind. The queen bee had stung herself to death. After everything blew up, I knew there was no saving the marriage, not that I wanted to. But I wanted it finished. I didn't want to give Madison even the smallest rope to tug on and try to pull me back. So I filed for divorce. With the evidence I had, it was almost laughably easy. My lawyer said it was one of the cleanest cases of marital misconduct he'd seen. Between the video, the texts, and the family who had witnessed the reveal firsthand, she had no room to argue. At the hearing, she looked nothing like the woman I married. Hair unwashed, face pale, clothes wrinkled. She tried to put on the tears for the judge. "I was lonely, I made a mistake." But it fell flat. The judge gave me the house, the car, and denied her any alimony. When it was over, she lingered outside the courthouse. She lit a cigarette with shaking hands. She never smoked when we were married, and asked me quietly, "So that's it? 7 years, gone just like that?" I looked her in the eye and said, "No, Madison. You threw it away. I'm just signing the death certificate." I walked to my car, didn't look back. For the first time in months, I felt clean. Not happy yet, but free. Like I'd crawled out of a burning building and could finally breathe again. That night, I sat alone in my living room. The house was quiet, empty, and mine. I poured myself a drink, raised the glass to the silence, and whispered, "Here's to the end." And for the first time since that wedding night, I didn't feel crushed. I felt lighter. With Madison out of my life for good, I finally had space to breathe. The first thing I did was purge the house. Every trace of her, gone. Her clothes, her perfume bottles, the framed photos of us smiling like liars, boxed up and dumped at Goodwill. I even took down that tacky "Bless this home" sign she insisted on hanging in the kitchen. The place felt emptier, but it also felt mine. Then I turned to myself. I hit the gym hard. At first it was just about burning off rage, but after a few weeks, I started seeing changes, the weight dropping, muscles coming back, shoulders squaring up. It wasn't just about looks, it was about control. My body was mine again. I leaned on my family too. My parents were amazing, inviting me over for dinners, making sure I wasn't wallowing. My sister Kelly made me the godfather of her newborn, saying, "We need a man we can trust." That one hit me hard, in a good way. And I picked up hobbies I'd abandoned during the marriage. Dusting off my guitar, joining a weekend hiking group, even taking a photography class. Funny, considering the camera both ruined and saved me. The whispers about Madison and Rob still floated around town, but they didn't sting anymore. If anything, they reminded me that I'd survived what could have destroyed me. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't just existing. I was living. And I realized, my life wasn't over because she betrayed me. It was just beginning. It's been a year since that wedding night, since my life got flipped inside out by a camera left running on a table. Sometimes I still think about it, her giggle, his hand on her skirt, and for a second, the humiliation burns fresh. But then I remember the bigger picture. That clip didn't just catch betrayal, it saved me from wasting another decade on a woman who never deserved me. Madison lost everything. Her family's respect, her friends, even Rob, who bailed the second reality set in. Last I heard, she was working 2 jobs and bouncing between apartments. Honestly? I don't care. Her downfall isn't my business anymore. Me? I've rebuilt. Stronger. Leaner. More focused. I've reconnected with my family in ways I never thought I could. I've taken trips, played music, laughed with my siblings, stood as godfather to my niece's baby. I'm even dating again, slowly, carefully. No illusions this time. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Betrayal isn't about your worth. It's about their weakness. Revenge can be sweet, but truth is sweeter. I didn't need fists or screaming matches. I let the evidence speak, and it destroyed them better than I ever could. Your life doesn't end with their lies. It begins again when you stop letting them define you. The camera showed me the worst moment of my life, but it also freed me. I'm not the husband who lost his wife to his uncle. I'm the man who survived the fire and built something new from the ashes. And that's a story Madison will never get to rewrite. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a thumbs up.